Let me start by declaring something bold and undeniable. Happiness is not a reward for perfect circumstances. It is a choice, a discipline, and a weapon against the storms of life. Every single day, you are handed the gift of 24 hours, and what you decide to fill it with will either lift you into victory or bury you under despair. Happiness is a choice, not a reward, and this truth is what separates people who rise above their challenges from those who sink under them. Too often, people wait for circumstances to line up before they allow themselves to feel joy. They think they will be happy when they have more money, when they finally find the right partner, when their career takes off, or when their problems disappear. But the reality is that problems never stop coming. If you wait for a perfect moment to be happy, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Happiness is not something you stumble upon. It is something you decide on, even when everything around you screams otherwise. Think about how much power that puts in your hands. If happiness was a reward, you would be powerless, waiting for life to hand it to you. You would be at the mercy of your circumstances, your past, and other people's actions. But because happiness is a choice, you have authority over it. You don't need permission to smile. You don't need conditions to be grateful. You don't need everything to be in place to wake up and say, today I will have joy. That means that happiness is not external. It is internal, and it flows from the way you choose to think. The problem is, most people hand over this power. They attach their joy to their job, their bank account, their relationships, or their comfort. And when any of these things are shaken, their happiness is stolen. But true joy cannot be stolen if it was never tied to those things in the first place. Happiness that depends on something fragile will always collapse. But happiness that is rooted in daily choice and gratitude becomes unshakable. That is why people who seem to have nothing can still radiate joy, while people who have everything can still feel empty. When you begin to choose happiness, it doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. It means you refuse to let life dictate your emotions. It means you are willing to push past your feelings, past your disappointments, past your fears, and say, I will live with joy today. That kind of decision takes courage, because it is much easier to complain, to be bitter, or to play the victim. But victims never rise, and complainers never win. Choosing happiness every day is the path of a fighter, someone who refuses to surrender to negativity. Each day you wake up, you face a crossroads. Will you allow yesterday's failures, worries, and disappointments to shape your spirit, or will you command yourself to rise higher? This is where discipline comes in. Happiness is not passive. It requires training your mind. Just like the body needs exercise, the mind needs to be stretched toward gratitude, toward optimism, and toward joy. And the more you practice it, the stronger you get. Eventually, happiness becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural response. Consider what happens when you decide to be happy despite your hardships. Problems don't magically disappear, but your perspective changes. Instead of only seeing obstacles, you begin to see opportunities. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, you find courage to act. Instead of feeling crushed under stress, you carry it with strength. Happiness shifts your entire mindset, and when your mindset shifts, your reality starts to change. That is the power of choosing joy as a daily habit. It is important to remember that happiness is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about denying pain, sadness, or struggle. It is about refusing to let those things dominate your spirit. Even in moments of hardship, you can find small reasons to be thankful. You can focus on the blessings you do have, however small they may seem. And gratitude fuels joy. When you count what is good instead of obsessing over what is missing, your spirit begins to rise above the storm. The amazing part is that happiness does not only affect you, it affects everyone around you. When you choose joy, you create an atmosphere that uplifts others. Your attitude becomes contagious, and your presence becomes a source of encouragement. A joyful spirit brings light into dark rooms, hope into hopeless situations, and peace into stressful environments. Choosing happiness every day is not just a personal decision, it is also an act of service to the people in your life. This is why happiness should never be left to chance. If you leave it in the hands of circumstances, you will always be tossed back and forth by what happens to you. But if you take control of it, if you decide that happiness is your choice every morning, you will walk through life with a strength that can't be shaken. Each morning you wake up, you have the power to push yourself toward joy, even if it feels difficult at first. And the more you push, the more natural it becomes. That is the kind of life you were created to live. Not a life where you wait for good times to smile, but a life where you decide to smile even when times are tough. Not a life where you depend on other people for joy, but a life where you create joy from within. Not a life where happiness is a reward you chase, but a life where happiness is a choice you make again and again every single day. Difficulties are invitations to grow, but most people misunderstand them as punishments or setbacks. When challenges arrive, the natural response is to ask, why me? Or why now? But the truth is that struggles are not always barriers. They are training grounds. They come to refine you, not to ruin you. Every difficulty you face carries within it a hidden lesson, an opportunity to build strength, and a chance to become someone greater than you were before. The people who grow the most in life are not those who avoid problems, but those who face them with courage and learn from them. When life gets hard, it's easy to think you've been abandoned or forgotten. But what if the hardship is actually shaping you for something bigger? A seed has to be buried in the dark before it can grow into a tree. Steel has to pass through fire before it becomes strong enough to be used. Diamonds are formed under pressure, not comfort. In the same way, your difficulties are the very pressures that will bring out the strength, resilience, and wisdom inside of you. Without them, you would remain the same, never unlocking your full potential. Every time you encounter a challenge, you are being stretched. And while stretching is uncomfortable, it is necessary for growth. Just like muscles cannot grow stronger without resistance, your character cannot develop without obstacles. That is why life allows you to walk through tough seasons, because those seasons force you to reach higher, dig deeper, and discover abilities you didn't even know you had. Without difficulties, you would stay in your comfort zone, and comfort zones never create champions. Think about the most successful people you admire. None of them reach greatness without enduring hardship. Behind every achievement, there are countless stories of failure, rejection, and pain. What separated them from others was not that their path was easier, but that they accepted difficulty as part of the process. They treated their challenges as stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. They understood that the storm was not meant to destroy them, but to prepare them for a new level of strength. Difficulties also serve to reveal your true mindset. It is easy to speak positively when everything is going your way, but what happens when the bottom falls out? Do you give up or do you press forward? Hard times expose what you really believe about yourself and about life. They strip away false confidence and force you to either quit or rise. And if you choose to rise, you discover a version of yourself that you would have never met without the struggle. That discovery alone makes every difficulty valuable. Challenges are also the best teachers. No classroom, no book, and no seminar can teach you what real life adversity can. When you face financial struggles, you learn resourcefulness. When you deal with rejection, you learn resilience. When you suffer loss, you learn compassion. Every difficulty shapes your character and equips you with wisdom that can't be learned any other way. The knowledge gained from hardship doesn't fade, it stays with you, guiding your decisions and strengthening your future. Another reason difficulties are invitations to grow is that they push you out of isolation. When life is too easy, pride can creep in and you start believing you don't need anyone. But when challenges hit, they remind you of the value of connection, faith, and humility. Struggles push you to lean on God, to reach out for help, and to build relationships with people who can lift you when you're weak. In that sense, difficulties don't just grow you as an individual, they also grow the community around you. There is also something powerful about looking back on difficulties you once thought would break you and realizing you survived. The moment you overcome a hard season, your confidence grows. You start to see that if you made it through that, you can make it through whatever comes next. Difficulties create a history of victories inside you. They become reminders that you are stronger than you thought. And those reminders empower you to face future challenges with greater faith and determination. Sometimes difficulties are redirections. What you see as a setback may actually be a divine shift, guiding you away from something that would have harmed you or towards something better. A closed door can be frustrating, but it often protects you from walking into the wrong place. Resistance in one area can push you to explore another path where your true potential lies. The difficulty isn't random, it's shaping the trajectory of your life, even if you can't see the full picture yet. Ultimately, every difficulty you face is an opportunity for transformation. You don't come out of hardship the same person you went in as. You either grow bitter or you grow stronger, and that choice is always yours. Life doesn't ask whether you want challenges, it hands them to you. But in every challenge, you have the power to decide how you will respond. Will you see it as a curse, or will you embrace it as an invitation to grow into the person you were always meant to become? Gratitude unlocks joy because it shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. The human mind naturally gravitates toward problems, disappointments, and unmet desires. If you allow that pattern to control you, no amount of success will ever feel like enough. But the moment you pause to recognize the blessings you already have, no matter how small, you begin to experience a joy that cannot be shaken. Gratitude is the lens that transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary gifts and shifts your spirit from lack to abundance. When you practice gratitude, you teach yourself to stop waiting for happiness in the future and to experience it right now. Too many people tie their joy to a someday that never arrives. They say, I'll be happy when I get the promotion, or I'll be happy when I buy the house, or I'll be happy when I fix everything in my life. The problem with this mindset is that there will always be another challenge, another desire, another thing to chase. Gratitude interrupts that cycle by grounding you in the present and saying, look at what you already have. That awareness creates instant joy. It's important to understand that gratitude is not ignoring difficulties. It's choosing to focus on the good within them. Life is not perfect, and everyone faces pain, but gratitude finds light even in darkness. For example, instead of focusing only on the job you dislike, Gratitude allows you to appreciate that you still have income while working towards something better. Instead of being consumed by stress, gratitude makes you pause and notice the small blessings that still surround you. By changing what you focus on, you change how you feel. The act of gratitude also transforms your perspective on setbacks. What you once viewed as failures begin to look like lessons. What you thought was a curse reveals itself as protection. Gratitude allows you to see beyond the surface and recognize that even painful experiences can carry hidden gifts. This doesn't erase the pain, but it prevents bitterness from taking root. It gives you the strength to endure because you know that even in loss, there is something to be thankful for, whether it is growth, wisdom, or a new direction. Another powerful aspect of gratitude is its ability to multiply joy. When you focus on what you are thankful for, your appreciation deepens, and you begin to notice even more to be grateful about. This creates a cycle where joy feeds into more joy. For instance, if you express gratitude for your health, you start to notice the energy you have. If you thank God for your relationships, you become more attentive and loving toward them, which strengthens the bond and brings more happiness. Gratitude expands your vision and trains your mind to seek out the good. Gratitude also softens the heart and makes you more compassionate. When you realize how much you've been blessed with, you naturally become more generous and more willing to share that joy with others. Gratitude doesn't just unlock personal happiness, it spreads happiness to those around you. A grateful person becomes a source of encouragement because their words and actions reflect appreciation instead of complaints. Their presence uplifts others, and that ripple effect creates more joy than they could have created alone. It's worth noting that gratitude is not something you feel once in a while. It is a discipline you cultivate daily. It requires intentional practice. Just as you train your body through exercise, you must train your mind to look for things to appreciate. This may start with something as simple as writing down 3 things each morning that you are thankful for. Over time, this practice rewires your thinking, so gratitude becomes your default response. And when gratitude becomes your habit, joy becomes your lifestyle, gratitude also has the power to break the hold of negativity. The mind cannot dwell on thankfulness and bitterness at the same time. When you actively choose gratitude, you starve negativity of its power. Instead of rehearsing what went wrong, you begin to magnify what went right. Instead of being weighed down by complaints, you are lifted by appreciation. Gratitude acts as a shield, protecting your joy from being stolen by the storms of life. Even in the smallest details of life, gratitude proves its strength. A smile from a stranger, a meal on the table, the air you breathe. These may seem ordinary, but gratitude reveals them as blessings. Once you develop this perspective, you realize that joy is not locked behind big achievements. It's available in every moment. And when you learn to celebrate the small things, the big things become even sweeter. Gratitude creates a lifestyle where joy is constant, not conditional. The most powerful truth about gratitude is that it changes you before it changes anything else. Circumstances may remain the same, but your heart is different. Where others see lack, you see abundance. Where others feel despair, you feel hope. Where others complain, you rejoice. Gratitude unlocks joy because it teaches you that fulfillment is not found in waiting for a perfect life. It is found in appreciating the life you already have and discovering the richness hidden in every moment. Happiness is your responsibility, and until you accept that truth, you will always feel like a victim of circumstances. Too many people wait for someone else to make them happy, whether it's a spouse, a friend, or a boss. They put the weight of their joy on other people's actions, and when those people fall short, their happiness collapses. But happiness was never meant to be outsourced. It is not another person's job to manage your emotions or carry your peace. It belongs to you, and the sooner you take ownership of it, the sooner you begin to walk in freedom. When you hand your happiness over to external things, you live in constant instability. If money flows, you feel good. If money dries up, you spiral into despair. If people applaud you, you're confident. If they criticize you, you fall apart. If circumstances are favorable, you smile. If they turn against you, you break down. That is a dangerous way to live because you are allowing everything outside of you to control everything inside of you. True stability comes when you decide that joy is not for sale, that it will not be dictated by the ups and downs of life. Owning your happiness means taking responsibility for your mindset. Every thought you entertain is either adding to your peace or robbing you of it. When you choose to focus on fear, worry, and negativity, you drain your joy. But when you choose to focus on gratitude, hope, and faith, you feed your spirit with strength. No one else can make that decision for you. It's a personal responsibility that cannot be transferred. You have the power to decide what dominates your mind, and that decision determines how happy you feel. It also means taking responsibility for your words. The tongue has power, and the words you speak shape your atmosphere. If you are constantly speaking defeat, complaint, and discouragement, your life will reflect that negativity. But if you speak life, encouragement, and victory, you create an environment that nurtures happiness. Again, no one can do this for you. Others can inspire you, but at the end of the day, you must decide what comes out of your mouth. The responsibility of creating a joyful atmosphere lies with you. Another part of this responsibility is how you respond to challenges. You may not control every event that happens to you, but you always control your response. Two people can go through the same situation and come out with completely different mindsets. One will grow bitter, the other will grow stronger. The difference is not in the event. It is in the response. Taking responsibility for your happiness means choosing not to let hardship dictate your spirit, but instead using it as fuel to rise. When you accept that happiness is your responsibility, you stop blaming others for your condition. Blame is easy, but it is also paralyzing. If someone else is responsible for your happiness, then you have no power to change your life until they change. That leaves you stuck, waiting, powerless. But when you say, it's on me, you step into power. You stop waiting for people to apologize, for life to get easier, or for circumstances to change. You realize that your joy starts with you and no one can take that away. This responsibility also requires boundaries. If you want to protect your happiness, you must be willing to distance yourself from negativity, from toxic voices, and from environments that constantly drain you. Taking ownership of your joy means guarding it like treasure. You wouldn't let anyone steal your most valuable possession, so why let them steal your peace of mind? Responsibility is not just about making choices. It's also about protecting the choices you make. It's important to understand that this responsibility doesn't mean you will always feel happy. Emotions come and go, and life will test you. But responsibility means that even when you don't feel joy naturally, you still choose to pursue it. You still choose gratitude, you still choose hope, you still choose to speak life. Feelings are temporary, but decisions are lasting. By taking responsibility, you move beyond temporary emotions and into consistent discipline. Happiness as your responsibility also means you become intentional with how you live your days. You cannot drift through life and expect joy to appear out of nowhere. You must be deliberate about your thoughts, your actions, your routines, and your relationships. You must ask yourself, what am I feeding my spirit with daily? Am I surrounding myself with things that lift me or things that weigh me down? Responsibility is about designing your life in a way that supports joy instead of leaving it to chance. When you embrace this truth, happiness stops being fragile and becomes powerful. It stops being something that slips away every time life gets hard and becomes something you carry with you no matter what. It becomes your daily choice, your daily responsibility, and your daily strength. And when you live that way, happiness is no longer something you wait for. It is something you create, protect, and sustain every single day. Pushing yourself daily for positivity is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing the perspective that empowers you to move forward. Life will always present reasons to be negative. Disappointments, delays, rejections, and setbacks are part of every journey. If you wait for perfect circumstances to feel positive, you will rarely find them. That's why positivity must be intentional, a conscious push every single day. Just as muscles do not grow without resistance, positivity does not grow without effort. It takes strength to rise above negativity, and that strength is built by consistently pushing yourself toward the light even when darkness surrounds you. When your alarm goes off in the morning, the push begins. The first thoughts that enter your mind set the tone for the day. If you immediately focus on problems, stress, or complaints, your energy sinks before the day even begins. But if you push yourself to focus on gratitude, on opportunities, and on possibility, you step into the day with strength. That decision does not happen automatically. It requires effort. You must train yourself to recognize when negative thoughts arise and replace them with positive ones that align with the life you want to live. Daily positivity also requires a push because negativity is contagious. The world is filled with voices of fear, criticism, and doubt. If you absorb all of it without guarding your mind, you will carry that heaviness into your own life. Pushing for positivity means filtering what you listen to, what you watch, and who you allow to influence your spirit. It means choosing uplifting words over gossip, hope over fear, and solutions over complaints. This kind of discipline protects your joy and keeps your focus clear, even in environments where negativity is everywhere. Another reason this push is necessary is because emotions are unpredictable. Some days you wake up with energy and confidence, while other days you feel heavy for no clear reason. In those moments, waiting for positivity to come naturally is a mistake. You must create it. You push yourself by reading something uplifting, listening to a message of encouragement, or speaking affirmations out loud until your emotions align with your words. By doing this daily, you train your emotions instead of being controlled by them. Positivity also requires action, not just thought. You can't simply think about joy. You must act in ways that support it. A smile, a kind word, a step toward your goals, an act of service towards someone else. These actions shift your atmosphere. Pushing for positivity means refusing to stay idle in negativity and instead taking active steps to redirect your day. Even small actions build momentum, and momentum is often what turns discouragement into determination. The push is also necessary because negativity feels easier in the moment. Complaining feels natural. Blaming others feels comfortable. Giving in to fear feels safer than pushing forward with faith. But the easy path always leads to stagnation and regret. Positivity requires more energy, but it produces more reward. It keeps you moving, keeps you believing, and keeps you expecting better days ahead. The push may be hard at first, but over time it builds resilience. And resilience makes you unstoppable. Every day you push for positivity, you are rewriting the story of your life. Instead of being someone who constantly reacts to circumstances, you become someone who creates the atmosphere they want to live in. Instead of being tossed back and forth by emotions, you establish a steady spirit that influences your environment. The daily push transforms you from a passive receiver of life to an active shaper of it. That transformation does not happen overnight, but with consistency, it becomes your identity. Positivity also opens doors that negativity keeps shut. A positive outlook makes you approachable, trustworthy, and inspiring to others. It attracts opportunities, relationships, and favor because people are drawn to light, not darkness. When you push yourself into positivity each day, you're not just helping yourself. You're influencing everyone who comes in contact with you. Your words carry encouragement. Your attitude carries hope, and your actions carry energy. The daily push has a ripple effect that reaches far beyond you. There will be days when pushing yourself into positivity feels like climbing a mountain. But those are the days when it matters most. Anyone can be positive when life is easy, but true strength is proven when you can maintain it in difficulty. On those days, even the smallest act of positivity becomes an act of victory. Choosing to smile, choosing to be grateful, choosing to believe in the possibility of tomorrow. These choices may seem small, but they are proof that negativity has not won. The daily push is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Over time, this daily push becomes less of a struggle and more of a habit. What once felt like a fight becomes your natural state of being. Instead of waiting for joy, you live in it. Instead of chasing peace, you carry it. Instead of looking for reasons to be hopeful, you become the reason others find hope. That transformation starts with the simple decision to push yourself into positivity every single day, no matter what life brings. Do you want me to now expand the sixth key point, joy is a weapon against defeat, in the same 10-paragraph style? You said, 6th, expand it, and don't add any ending sentence and make it lengthy in 10-paragraph without heading and conclusion. ChatGPT said, joy is a weapon against defeat because it disarms the power of adversity. Life will always bring battles, financial struggles, broken relationships, health challenges, unexpected losses. These moments are designed to wear you down, to drain your hope, and to convince you that quitting is easier than continuing. But joy is what gives you the strength to stand when everything around you is trying to knock you down. Joy is not just a feeling. It is a shield that protects your spirit from being crushed by circumstances that seem bigger than you. When defeat whispers in your ear, it tries to convince you that your situation is final. It tells you that there is no way forward, that you have no chance of winning. But when you carry joy, you refuse to agree with that voice. Joy allows you to see beyond the immediate struggle and recognize that the story is not over yet. It tells you that even in the middle of hardship, victory is still possible. Joy shifts your vision from the size of the problem to the greatness of your inner strength. And that shift is what keeps you moving forward when others give up. Joy is powerful because it disrupts the enemy's plan. Negativity, fear, and despair thrive when you surrender to them. But the moment you choose joy in the face of pain, you take away their authority. You send a message that no matter what happens, you will not be broken. This is why joy is so much more than a mood. It is a strategy. It keeps your heart light when the weight of life tries to crush you. It keeps your spirit alive when hopelessness tries to bury you. Joy is a declaration of defiance against defeat. Even in physical battles, joy has been shown to strengthen the body. Stress and despair weaken your immune system, drain your energy, and cloud your thinking. But joy restores energy, sharpens clarity, and brings peace that fuels your ability to endure. When your body and mind are strengthened by joy, you become more resilient. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, you are energized by hope. Instead of being slowed down by discouragement, you are propelled by determination. Joy becomes a source of endurance that no enemy can easily dismantle.